calling your kind attention once again to Tarpley.net, Tarpley.net, and two commentaries this week on Russia Today. One on the Turkish-Brazilian attempt to head off an attack on Iran and crippling sanctions that will cripple the entire Middle East economies, and also then a commentary on the German ban on credit default swaps à la découverte, naked credit default swaps. Let's get back to this pathetic Senate product. On the most radical, I suppose, was the Cantwell-McCain Senate 3884 to reinstate the Glass-Steagall Act, which means insurance is one thing, banking is another, stock jobbing, investment banking, a third thing. These are mutually exclusive, firewall between the three, can't do more than one. So be a bank, be a commercial bank, or be an investment bank with stock jobbing and derivatives, but not both. If you're going to accept deposits, FDIC, then no stock jobbing, no investment banking, no derivatives. This would have repealed the Graham-Leach-Bliley insanity. The Graham-Leach-Bliley Financial Services Modernization Act of 1999 would have been repealed. That was defeated. It was dropped. So that was the most significant one. Then there was Merkley-Levin, and Merkley-Levin was to force large banks to divest their speculative proprietary trading activities. In other words, the Volcker rule. This is less radical than Glass-Steagall, but still the Volcker rule would have been something. But unfortunately, the Merkley-Levin proposal did not come to a vote. When they got cloture, they were doing cloture essentially. Old Harry Reid and Dodd were doing cloture against some of the more interesting things coming from even Democrats, although the Cantwell-McCain was bipartisan on the face of it. So we don't get Glass-Steagall for the moment, no Glass-Steagall, and no Volcker rule even. And then the one thing that did get through, apparently, is the Blanche Lincoln Senate Agricultural Committee measure, which says that banks are not allowed to do derivatives trading. So this specifically derivatives. The word from the various commentators this morning is Wall Street hedge fund hyenas and zombie bankers are confident that their army of locust lobbyists will be able to remove the Blanche Lincoln proposal from the bill. Barney Frank told the truth when he appeared at the White House today with Dodd after meeting with Barkey. Frank says much of this bill was foreshadowed in the speeches by Treasury Secretary Hank Paulson of Goldman Sachs and the Bushmen during 2008. So, says Frank, right, our bill is so radical that it came from a Republican Bushman and tool of Goldman Sachs. So that more or less says it. Now, there are some half measures that are worth mentioning. It is worthwhile to force derivatives to be traded on exchanges. It's important for them to be listed, to be processed through clearinghouses so you know how many there are. It would be better to make all derivatives reportable ipso facto, no matter who owns them. But forcing the derivatives out into the open is a good thing as far as that goes, but this is simply a half measure that will not save the bill. The other thing is they want to force hedge funds to register, at least the larger ones. Hedge funds with more than $100 million of assets must register with the Securities and Exchange Commission. That's fine. That should be done. That is at least a step towards regulation. but a lot of hedge funds have already done this. A lot of them have registered with the SEC as a means of sort of confidence building, especially with various kinds of institutional and foreign clients. So other than that, what do you get? You get this huge bureaucracy, the Bureau of Consumer Financial Protection within the Federal Reserve. Oh, my God. Look, the big problem with creating these agencies is what is known as regulatory capture. And regulatory capture is essentially that the government agency that's supposed to be regulating a branch of financial activity is captured by the people it's supposed to be regulating. Take a look at the Minerals Management Service, which became a tool of the oil companies, or the Bureau of Mine Safety, which was bribed and taken over by unscrupulous coal mine operators. This is the same thing. You're much better off to forget the bureaucracy and just do some simple bans. Ban adjustable rate mortgages. Simple. Don't allow them. For the crisis that we're in now, ban foreclosures. Yes. Primary residence, no foreclosures for 5 years or the duration of the crisis. And then you simply allow the Department of Justice to enforce that as a matter of law. But the Bureau of Consumer Financial Protection, this doesn't look good. And then, of course, it's in the Federal Reserve, so it's captured from the word go. Federal Reserve is controlled by Wall Street. The heart of the matter is Wall Street. The center of evil is Wall Street. The tentacle reaches into the Federal Reserve. The objection to the Federal Reserve is that it's privately owned, right? Privately owned by Wall Street. That was the whole beginning of this question 20 years ago. And now, under the influence of these crackpot Austrians, we're told that the problem is really in the Federal Reserve and that Wall Street are just innocent bystanders, right? The whole argument is that Wall Street owns and controls the Federal Reserve like they do so much else in this society. So that does not look good. Better, again, ban adjustable rate mortgages, ban foreclosures. What else do we have here? Well, I guess the rest of this stuff is in the minutia. This is a big disappointment, and of course we know how this happened. This was done by Geithner. This was done by Rahm Emanuel. This was done by Obama. When Obama had those zombie bankers come to the White House some months back, he said openly to them, "Guys, I'm the only thing standing between you and an army of pitchforks." So Obama is the line of defense for the Wall Street zombie bankers against the economic populist rage against Wall Street excesses. And he has now delivered. He has essentially blunted this. And, again, watch out for Rahm Emanuel in the House-Senate Conference Committee. The bill has got to be reconciled, and it's clear what Rahm Emanuel is going to do. He's going to take this Blanche Lincoln proposal to stop the banks from trading in derivatives, and he's going to gut it and remove it. And there was an attempt by Dodd to say, I think this was the one, Dodd said, yes, we can keep the language, but we'll delay it for 2 years, and then we'll make it subject to the Secretary of the Treasury. In other words, a Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan puppet like Geithner. So, not good. The other thing you should listen to in the closing moments of the show now, look at this attempt by Brazil and Turkey to head off the conflict with Iran. So this is Lula of Brazil last Sunday night with Erdogan of Turkey and Foreign Minister Davutoglu of Turkey. Quite an interesting fellow. They're going to Iran and saying, look, we've got the problem of the uranium enrichment solved, and as soon as this happens, the very next day, Hillary Clinton comes up, she claims, with a deal to impose crippling sanctions on Iran. Well, even what she puts out is not crippling, but big mistake for Russia and China to go along with that if they do, which is not shown yet. It's not yet a done deal. So keep fighting on all these fronts. And remember, ban hedge funds, ban derivatives and Tobin tax, and seize the central banks and use them for credit creation and job creation. And we'll be back next week on World Crisis Radio.